Hello YouTube. Good evening. I am 5 minutes late, but I hope you're all. I hope you're all doing well. So tonight's chat discussion is about immigration update, and if you are an overstayer and you are watching this program, then I have some kind of, I want to express my opinion about the news that's circulating, I think about 5 days ago, on Boris Johnson saying something about illegal immigrants and how the government or how he was kind of considering it. Okay, so I had like few people sending me the article because I have, I don't really watch the news. I read the news, but I'm very selective of what I read. So this particular news from I think Bloomberg was about that, and it's quite surprising because there's nothing on the immigration, in the immigration world, saying about the government legalizing, granting amnesty to overstayers in the UK. So there's never been a talk about that. There's a lot of petitions going on. I remember a couple of years ago where there was one that even it reached to 100,000 people signing the petition, asking the government to grant amnesty to overstayers. And that's been sort of like, that's fallen into the deaf ear of the government. And then again, I think last year there was another one circulating about, there was another petition, and then this year there's another one. And my take on these petitions is, so the government has already responded to their to the petition, okay, because they usually debate it if it reached a certain amount of numbers of people signing it. But it's still kind of the same. They haven't officially acknowledged, they haven't officially announced, they haven't, it's still the same. So if you're an overstayer and wanting to make an application or wanting to check if the Home Office, if the government is granting amnesty, then there's really no way of knowing it. There's no official announcement until you make the application and you explain why you should be granted a visa or limited leave to remain. But my opinion on this sort of surprising announcement from Boris Johnson is that, firstly, before he came to power or during when he was elected as the leader of the Conservative, he acknowledged that it was one of his agenda, isn't it? It was one of his policies that he would be considering granting amnesty to illegal immigrants. And in fact, there's a video of him saying it. So there's evidence of him saying it. So, but then something happened. He became prime minister, and then Brexit, and then there's the pandemic. So a lot of things have happened in between or after he said that. So if they do, make an official announcement, maybe sometime this year, there would be a reason to it, and I think they might. Okay, my opinion is they might, if they want to raise money, if they want to raise money and get money from overstayers. And the reason for that is, because the economy is down because of the pandemic, and then there's Brexit, the effect of Brexit. The government maybe does not have enough money on the system. So one of the ways of making money would be through granting amnesty. We never know, but it will be good news for overstayers who've waited such a long time. Although there's already categories, okay? There's already provisions for overstayers who want to regularize their stay, and that is like waiting 20 years or waiting or if they have children or family in the UK or any other exceptional circumstances, you can regularize, you stay that way. But if you don't fall under those kind of categories and you're just hanging around waiting for the amnesty and you're working, I don't know, there may be some kind of qualification, you may have to pay money. That will be good news for you. I think this year might be the year, because that Boris Johnson comment is really quite surprising, I must say, because there's never, in the immigration world, there's never been any talk about there's going to be amnesty. Okay, so if you have any questions for me, pop them on the chat and let me know what those are, and I will answer them. What have I been doing this week? So I was looking at the EU settlement applications, because there's been some questions about that even now. So people are still navigating what they need to do if their biometric card is expired, how to renew it, and so on. So it's not so easy to find. If you Google it, it's not actually easy to find, and I did it today, and I was like, something's changed. I don't know what's happening. Something's changed with the UK website. Maybe maybe they're not renewing family of European citizens biometric residence card. But then I wonder, well, that can't be right, because they need to have the card to let them get back into the country, isn't it? So if you're in the country, you probably won't need it, because you have the pre-settled digital check. So if a government agency or a landlord or an employer wants to see your proof of biometric card, then you'll say, well, I have a pre-settled status. You can check it. It's checked. But if you're actually outside, if you actually want to come to leave the country, go on holiday somewhere, I don't know, in Asia or in America, then you won't be able to really get back unless you have a visa, right? So how are they going to let you leave? They're going to check it. They're going to check, well, do you have visa to go to where you're going? And so so I was checking it, and I was Googling it this afternoon, and biometric residence replacement, and then you come onto this page on biometrics, and it says something. If you are an EU citizen, we don't need if you are an EU citizen or related to an EU citizen, EA citizen, then click here. So I clicked on that, and then it took me to this page about European settlement scheme, and how if you have a biometric residence card, that's not going to be valid on the 21st in June 30, 2021. So it's not going to be valid. And there's nothing on that page that says if you want to renew your expired BRC, click here. So I'm like, oh my goodness, there's nothing about how to renew. So I was like, I had to really research. And then I came across the Citizens Advice Bureau website that's very thorough. So if you are looking for some information about a specific topic, go to Citizens Advice Bureau website, and it will give you some information. So I was reading about it, and then it says, click here, but if you want to renew expired, it's like, oh, it's information. So I clicked it, and it took me directly to the page I was looking for, which I think I included in the video, in one of the videos here, because that's where I found it. But when I was searching, like a couple of months ago, it was there. You search it online, and it's like, it's there. It's right in front of the it's connected. You go to a government website, and it tells you information. You click, and it takes you to how to replace it. But this time today, when I was just searching for it, it didn't. So I can understand why you may be well, you may be frustrated if you're searching for something and it's not as easy as unless you actually read everything, click every link that they referred you to. Anyway, so I would do yeah, I'm also about 5 minutes late actually. um yeah, yeah, I was just actually discussing that. I don't know if you watched about 5 minutes into first 5 minutes of this video. I was explaining about my opinion about the overstaying, how Boris Johnson recently announced that he is considering it, and it's a very surprising announcement for him because there's never been any talk about legalizing or giving amnesty for overstayers. In fact, there's a lot of lots of petitions asking for the government to grant amnesty. But the latest one that I've seen is going around. I think it's at 30,000. It may have increased. Many people might have signed it by then. But it's asked about the overstayers being granted 5 years visa. I don't think that's going to happen, and that's probably why it's not there's not many people signing it because the request, the petition, is a little bit unreasonable. You can't grant somebody from overstay to like 5 years automatically. Um, my opinion on the announcement by Boris Johnson, I think I'm repeating myself here, from 5 days ago, is that that's kind of good news for overstayers because it might be something on the pipeline. The government might, I don't know, one of these days announce that they are going to be granting amnesty to overstayers. I don't know. There will be some conditions, okay, for you to, but there will be some consideration there, and I think maybe it's the right time for them to be doing it if they do it. But it will be probably expensive for overstayers to be granted amnesty. There's probably, I don't know whether there is how much they'll be charging for it, whether they're going to be charging special. But this is just my opinion, okay? I think there might be a valid reason for the government to do that. It's to raise money. If they want to raise money, then maybe they grant, because that's what happened with Italy. In Italy, last year during the pandemic, they did grant amnesty to overstayers, but there was a condition: you have to be working. Your employer has to kind of sponsor you, and they paid so much money apparently. So then that was one way of raising funds for the Italian government. But I'm not sure if the UK government will follow. So, but that is my opinion. I think that's kind of good news for him to be announcing it, because he didn't have to announce it. He didn't have to say anything, because apparently he's not. I don't know. He was not. He was asked a question, and that was his response during a sort of like media briefing or something. So, okay, guys. So yeah, pop your questions on the side, and let me know what those questions are. So going back to the residence card renewal. So if you're an EU citizen, family member of an EU citizen, and your biometric card is still under the European regulations, which is no longer valid. So in June, that won't be valid, and so you should, because this is what it says on the website, says it's not going to be valid anymore, and so that has to be issued. Obviously, you need to apply for pre-settled status or settled status if you've not already done it. If you have done it, then you will get a digital sort of status where employers and government agencies can check whether you have permission to be in the UK. But in terms of the residence card, it's still kind of confusing, and even I am confused, because the government website clearly says it's not going to be valid for until it's not going to be valid by June. And so when you okay. Okay, I'll answer you, Chucky, in a bit. So when you reach June and still have residence card that's sort of valid for the next 2 years, um, it says something like it's not going to be valid. I would ask for replacement. Okay, so especially if you feel like you're going outside the UK, coming back, it's better to have like the new card that says under the EU settlement schemes, because if it's still under the EU regulations, you might meet some government customs officer who will say, well, this is not valid anymore. So, you know, that might cause difficulty, even though you can say, well, I have a digital pre-settled status, please check. So I'll answer this question, and then I'll tell you something else. Please, how long do you have to wait before you contact the EU settlement scheme after applying? I would wait about 6 weeks, but then even now, 6 weeks is still, it can take up to 3 months. I mean, I know some people who've waited like over 6 months for the result, but that was like last year. So now, you need to really make sure you have it by like June, right? So I would chase them, I don't know, 4 weeks, after 4 weeks, and then just chase, every week, and see if that can be expedited. I don't know how they work now, because when you call them, they can actually just check. I don't know if they can sort of like inform the people dealing with the application to sort of chasing and make a note that says such and such a called and asking about their EU settlement application. Can you hurry up? I don't know if they log your call. I don't know. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know if they log your call, but certainly you can call like after 4 weeks and just say you're following it up because you're a bit worried, or ask. I'd be very worried if you haven't got it by like May. Okay, May, because I know June 30 is the deadline. But call them I would say every other week, especially if you have employer who's really strict and doesn't know not flexible, and doesn't know the law. So I was going to tell you that someone contacted me today and say, one of the employer. So she was asking, does the British citizen have to apply for settlement? And I'm like, that doesn't make sense, right? I mean, what kind of question is that? Does a British citizen have to apply for settlement? And I said, do you mean EU settlement? And she said, yes. Apparently the employer was asking because the person who has British citizen, okay, so this person naturalized as British citizen, because this person is British citizen but was not born in the UK, therefore apparently he needs to have the settlement. Okay, so I was like, that's discriminatory. Okay, it's discrimination. So I advised her. I said, well, tell this employer that it's discrimination. If you are an EU citizen or family member of an EU citizen and you are being asked to provide your settled status, having difficulty with your employer, it's discrimination if they ask you to provide your pre-settled status before June. Okay, so June is the deadline, and after June, yes, they have a right to ask for it. Some employer may be like asking just to prepare, and update the record, but they can't insist on you providing it before June. It's discrimination. So, right. So, which documents? So, Salvino, hi. Yes, hi. Which documents are needed for my wife who has arrived in UK and we settlement family member? I want to apply for pre-settles for her. I have my pre-settled. Okay. Okay. Flight is a stamp. Okay, a stamp that she's arrived in the UK that certain date. Maybe photocopy that stamp. There isn't really any guideline on it. Ask her to register with the GP. See if you can also get an appointment with a bank. and see if you can, or maybe a letter from the landlord, Salvino, or if you have, a tenancy, a letter from the landlord to say that she's living with you. It's kind of difficult, isn't it? Because she's just arrived in the country, but she has to apply for pre-settled status, and so to prove that she's actually arrived, sort of, like now, would be the stamp on her passport, to show that she's, it's her passport, obviously her passport, because that's the requirement, but stamped on her passport, maybe a letter from the GP if she's already registered, bank letter as well if she's already registered with the bank or made an appointment with the bank. Letter from the landlord, yes. That's all. That's the only, usually before all this, when you have a family permit, then that's what I normally advise clients to provide. Okay, provide that the person has opened bank account, just letter from bank account, GP. It's basically just proof of address. Okay, proof of address. Foot fam, are you a pre-settled? Are you an EU national, or what's your? Yeah, 1996. It's a long time, isn't it? Yeah, let me know if you are an EU national and what your nationality is, and whether you've had a visa before. Because if not, then you can, make an application now on the basis that you've been in the country for a private life application, on the basis of 20 years residence. How to chase it? You call, Kaddi, you call the EU settlement resolution. So I'm going to, so EU settlement resolution contact. Okay, so if you Google those, there should be, it should come up, and then there will have a number. They will have a number with the search result. If you Google that term, EU settlement resolution contact, you will get the number. I think it's 0300 number. Okay, you call them. Make sure you have your. Okay. But okay, hi, Food Fam. Have you had a visa before at all, or you're married but have not obtained visa yet? And do you have any children as well? If you've not had visa before and you're married to a British citizen, then you need to apply for a family visa, a partner's visa. Yes. So partner's visa, and your children will be British as well. Well, they're British, right? So yeah, so it'll be a family visa on the basis of I've had visas before. Okay, so tell me about your visas. When was it issued, and was it continuous? So if you've had spouse visa 2.5 years, and you've renewed them quite without any gap, then you'd be able to obtain usually indefinite leave to remain if you've been married. If you before 2000 and I think 12, yeah, so many changes. Yeah, 2012. If you were married to a British citizen, okay, before 2012, you only had to be married to them 3 years, and you'd be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain, and then British citizenship afterwards. But they changed all of that, and so that if you were married, you are only given 2.5 years visa at a time, and then you renew it if you comply with all these requirements. But if you don't comply with those requirements, then they put you on the 10-year route, which is what, you know, which means that it will take you 10 years to become permanent residents or apply for the indefinite leave to remain. So, Putpem, if you can let me know what your visas, you know, when you were granted, and what was it? Was it a family visa, a spouse visa at some point? And if you know, if there are gaps, then that might be a bit difficult. You won't be able to get the ILR, so you may have to kind of start all over, apply, and then if you comply with all the requirements, which is your spouse is earning 18,600 per annum before tax, and you have the English language as well. So those are the two main requirements that if you don't have them, it won't be refused, but you will be put on the 10-year route. So if you have them, then it will only take you 5 years to apply for the indefinite leave to remain, ILR. Sure, yes, no problem. Also, you can email me, help@doityourselfimmigration.co.uk. Okay, so and you can find, yeah, you should be able to find the email. Oh, I see, Kabdi. I think that's probably because they're so inundated with calls right now. People are panicking because the deadline is fast approaching. But I would just wait. You know, if your application has not been, if your application has not been for like 6 months, okay? If it's over 6 months and you're really worried about it, you can also write to, I think, Public Inquiries Office. Okay, inquiries. If you Google that, this office, yeah. If you Google this, and you will be Home Office complaint, okay? Because because there is really no way for the public to get in touch with the Home Office and get a satisfactory reply to your queries, right? It's the only way is to make a complaint. It's not really a complaint, okay? So it has to be a valid complaint. You can't just sort of like write to it's a specific address where you're supposed to make, where you're supposed to complain. It's just an email address where you kind of follow up your application. But this is the only way to get their attention. Otherwise, otherwise, if you don't write to them, nothing will get done. You can call. Maybe there's there is also a number that you can call, but it's not really the Home Office. You know, it would just be it's just going to be, it's like a call center where you call and they take your details and then say, yeah, and then you wait like 20 working days, 1 month before you get a reply, and if you get a reply. Okay, so for example of this is I applied for a naturalization for a client, and for naturalization usually it takes up to 6 months. So they say up to 6 months, and there's really no point contacting them before 6 months because they say up to 6 months. So we waited 6 months. 6 months arrived and nothing happened. So we had to write to these Public Inquiries Office, Home Office complaint, and just, you know, explain we're asking for their update on her application. And when we called them as well, and they said, yeah, well, you're going to wait. You're going to wait 20 working days. Someone will get in touch. 20 working days. 20 working days is basically a month, okay? It's not 20 days. It's 20 working days. That's Monday to Friday. So you have to wait a month. And then a month comes, nothing happens. You call again, and then they'd say, oh, well, someone, apparently someone, it says on the system, someone says they sent you an email, and then no email comes. So you have to be persistent. If you're really worried about your application, you have to, keep an eye on when you submitted it, but give them time. You can't just sort of like 3 months. Oh, I should have the result. No, no, no. It's you have it's if it says on the published guideline up, it can take up to 6 months. Don't contact them before that, because nothing happens. Even after that, they'd like, it's still difficult. So give them time. Yeah, this is a lot of people. This is one of the common questions that a lot of people ask. How long will it take? How long will it take? So I'll answer that question. But hi, New Life. Hi. Just the 6 months waiting time. Yeah, from the submission. Yeah, from the submission of the application. Yes, 6 months from that. But these days, it's really quick. The reason it gets delayed is her application, the one that I said it took a year, was stuck in some kind of yeah. Hi, Abdul. Sorry, I was trying to think of the name. Sure, I emailed, you emailed me. So it was stuck in this technology. This was like during the pandemic, when we submitted in November, and then March, last year, lockdown and everything just, was chaos. So it was only like, yeah, it was only November. It took like really 1 year, literally 1 year, for application to get approved. But that was like numerous phone calls and numerous email. Where is this? Where is the decision? Because and I had to say something like, well, my client paid paid the fees, and it's an expectation that she will get at least a decision. Is it a refusal? Is it what? So yeah. So but she got it. Okay, yeah. So let me answer the how long does it take. So if there is a published guideline, okay, so how long does it take? If it says, oh, it can take up to 3 months, then don't contact them up to 3 months. And after 3 months, maybe contact them. If it says it can take up to 6 months, then wait 6 months before you chase them. If there isn't any guidelines, like for example, you're an overstayer and you make an application that doesn't fall under any of the application time frame guidelines, you can't find any of those, and so you have to wait. Okay, you have to wait. There's nothing you can do about except waiting. You can't sort of like pester your lawyer and say, oh, how long will it take? I've applied like 3 months ago. How long will it take? Unfortunately, you just have to wait. That this is the bad thing about the home office, because there's no, you pay the fees, but there is no like customer service, absolutely none. And so you go through your lawyer, and then you say to your lawyer, how long does it take? And the lawyers are like, oh, we also don't know how long it takes. We're not the one, we don't have the case in front of us. So the only option you have is to write to this public inquiries office. Okay, that's the only option you have, is to contact them, call them, write a letter to say, I made the application, blah, 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 like 6 months ago, over 6 months ago, however. And I should be grateful if you could please update on this application, because, and then you give a reason. The reason why, and I think one of the comments that I also received is, not many people do this. Not many people write to the home office because they're scared. Oh, maybe, we don't need to contact them. Maybe we'll just wait. No, it's also wrong to just wait, until like 10 months, 11 months, 12 months. If you think that you can, write a letter and chase them up, then chase. It's not going to affect the outcome. They're not going to refuse you because you've chased them up. Okay, so you can still chase them up, even though and don't be scared. Don't be like, oh, well, I'm so scared it will affect, they might refuse me because I pestered them. No, not at all. So can the UN HCR certificate for the family be considered as evidence in terms of proving the relationship between both parents and then between them and the children? I'm not actually sure, Abdul. I don't know the answer to this. If the UN certificate possibly because your application is completely different from the normal application that I normally do. So possibly, okay. I don't think Abdul, I don't think you have anything to worry about, because clearly you were granted yeah, well, you couldn't possibly have marriage certificate if if you left in a hurry, right? So I would not worry about you know um, did you explain that in the cover letter, maybe? Because you might have somebody who is not. But usually, if they receive something that they're that's from it's a different category, then I think they pass it on to somebody who's dealt with it. They don't just. From my experience with naturalization, they're very good. They sort of they ask for more information before they refuse you. If you don't if you don't if you don't reply to their request, then then they will refuse you, because they've given you a chance and you haven't done anything about it. So hi Ashley, you're here. Okay. Kabdi, a friend of mine, submitted extra evidence supporting documents without Home Office request, and he got approval a few days later. Okay. And let me just go back to what Kabdi was. Okay. Yes. With EU settlement scheme, it's all everything is there already, and so they can just approve it straight away. Yeah. It can also take very quick, like you apply today and tomorrow you're granted the EU settlement scheme. It's true. Yeah, B1. Yeah, B1 certificate. B1 is the minimum English test for naturalization. That's right, Abdul. Yeah, just mention in the cover letter to say, we haven't got this, we haven't got our proof of our relationship, but you're clearly a family, so there's okay. Get married with an EU. I'm non-EU without the biometric done. Okay. Okay, Rikeen, do you have any children? Rikeen, do you have any children, or is it just you? Yeah, unfortunately for your application, because no children. Okay, because you are in the UK without a visa. Okay, so yeah, it falls if your application is not within the rules. Like, for example, you overstayed and then you switch to spouse visa, or switch to another category of visa, then it gets like it's not prioritized. Okay, so you may find that you actually wait like a year. It's common to get a decision after a year, or it may be more than, yeah, definitely up to a year. You can get you get the decision. I'm from Tunisia, my wife from Poland, and she's resident in the UK. Okay, Wasim, where are you at the moment? Are you still in Tunisia? Yes, yeah. It can take, Rikim, it can take up to a year, guarantee you. Did you use a lawyer as well? Wasim, did you send your application In the UK or outside the UK? If in the UK you sent it last December, you're still okay. I think you're still okay. Yeah. They sometimes it's the reason I think it takes time for your application to get processed is okay. Okay, Wasim. I actually applied also for a client in December. Okay, Wasim. Also, it's a family permit, right? Okay. Family permit. Yeah. I've just received a decision yesterday. It's the same. We submitted it in December, and then a client keeps keeps calling me. Oh, what's happening with my application? Have you got the decision? And then I tried to chase the home office, but I couldn't get through on the email or the phone. So thankfully, yesterday we received a letter to say that the visa was on its way. So Wasim, maybe it's on its way. Okay, so very possible that it's on its way. So there's been delays with issuing, I don't know, family permits. I don't know if it's deliberate or maybe it's just really the home office who don't have many staff to deal with the application. That can be possible. Oh, I see. So that's probably why the home office, okay. Yeah. The home office has asked you for more information. That's probably why it's taken it. There's a bit of a delay. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Rikim. First one double. Okay. 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 Okay, Rikim. Yeah, still because your application is different, Rikin, I would just wait. Yeah, I would wait for the decision. It's not again, it's not within the category of any application, so it gets to another sort of pile of somebody has to look at it like individually. It's not the computer who tick boxes, where if you're renewing a spouse visa, let's say, and you renewed it like 2.5 years ago and you're already on the system, then that's quite quick because it's already, everything is in there. But because it's a new application, you had some immigration history, and therefore therefore somebody has to look at it like a person, a caseworker from the home office looks at it individually. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You'll be okay. Just wait. But I would, if you used a lawyer, I would ask the lawyer to maybe chase them before, I don't know, like next month, end of next month, end of April. Okay, just so you get some idea what the decision is before June, because the deadline is June, isn't it? 30th of June. So I would, yeah, ask somebody to chase it for you. Yes, Abdul, yes, you need to anyway individually. You have to do it individually because there is no provision for the form to be, yeah, you can apply with your children but not with your wife, and yeah, it's for some reason it's that's how it is with the home office application forms. Yes, yeah, you do it correctly. Okay, guys, I'm here 43 minutes, but next week, just if you have any questions, like follow-up questions that you want to ask me, uh, you know, join me next week. Join me next week. And for those of you who are interested in learning how to make your own immigration application, I can do that I can send you a link where you can see me. Okay, so because it's quite hard for me to sort of like share my screen. I'm actually live on youtube 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 platform. Yes, YouTube platform. It's not connected to some kind of software or where I can share my screen and I can show you how I'm doing it. So you're gonna have to join me maybe in a Zoom or Google Meet to so I can share my screen, okay? But it will be a different time, maybe a Saturday evening, and then you can join me, and I will show you exactly where you look for your information when when you're researching about your individual case, and that's how you do it. Because the more you know about your application, the better it is for better it is for the result. Because although lawyers will be able to blah 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 to tell you what the requirements are, but really you still should know how it's done, so that you're not I would like to know how it's done. So and if you know English, then absolutely fine. Wasim, yeah, most lawyers have different prices. So for EU settlement applications, it's actually really straightforward application. Okay, Wasim, but when you come to Britain, for those of you who wants to know how to do your own immigration application, I'll show you how you can complete it, which website you need to go to, all those things that you need to do. What happens if you don't hear from the Home Office and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be doing that, but I'll first create a link for you to join me, and it will be next week when I publish the link, and you can click and subscribe. Okay. All right, guys. Have a lovely evening now. So see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.